Hi, my name's Lee Kennedy. Welcome to my channel, The Safety Entrepreneur. A little bit about myself. 5 years ago I set up a health and safety company after I had an accident which basically stopped me from being able to do the job I was doing at the time. I will speak more about what my accident was, how I got started, and the results of that accident, and what I used to do in consequent videos. But right now I'd like to talk about something a little bit more positive, and that's 5 top tips for a happy and successful life. Now, I'm not saying I've made it 100%, but what I am saying is that the 5 things that I'm going to say are 5 things that I probably wasn't doing 2 years ago, or maybe even 12 months ago. But since I have started doing them, I've noticed a massive change and shift forward. So the first one that I'd like to talk about is getting up early. I've always been an early riser. I was an ex-military man, and I think that's sort of bred into you. But what I've noticed is that you can get up early and you can do nothing, or you can get up early and you can use your time really, really well. So what I tend to do now is I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, I have a coffee, a light breakfast, and I'll start to plan my day. I'll start to look at the things that I want to achieve throughout that day, and I start working on achieving them. If it's just getting some paperwork done so that it frees my mind, so I'm not having to worry about that anymore, then that's a positive thing. If it's constructing an email that I'm going to send later in the day, that's another thing that I can do. If it's possibly putting something on social media which I can then post later, then that's another thing that I can do. But trying to rush and do all these things throughout your working day sometimes isn't possible, and having that extra time sets you up for the rest of the day. Puts you in a really good place. So the next thing that I'd like to talk about is self-improvement. I am a strong believer that just because you finish school doesn't mean that you finish your education. And I wasn't particularly good in school anyway, because I had the distractions of girls, trying to be cool, which and I didn't do particularly well at either of those things. So what I've noticed is that the more I read, the more I want to read. It is a bit like a drug, and I've started to turn my car into a library, really. So instead of listening to music, instead of listening to negative news and stuff like that, and getting pulled into all of that rubbish, I tend to listen to audiobooks. And there's some really great audiobooks out there. Some of the things that I've listened to recently are Sale of a Lifetime by Harry Dent. It's quite interesting on economics and demographics. I've also listened to The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles, The Secret by Rhonda Barrett. I've also listened to a lot of Zig Ziglar stuff, who I find is just amazing. He's funny, he's informative, and there's some real pearls of wisdom in there. And the more you listen to him, the more you hear, because the first time you listen to it, you can't possibly get all of the information. The guy talks at about 1,000,000 miles an hour, so you listen to it again, you're like, why did I miss that last time? And they really do. Even if they were recorded in the 80s or 90s, all of it's still relevant today, because people sell to people, for example, and human nature doesn't really change, even if technology does. So my third thing is setting outrageous goals. A year ago, I decided that I wanted to take my business from a health and safety business with me at the centre of it, as a sole trader, really going out and delivering a service, to creating a business, a scalable business. I had a figure in mind, and I wanted to go from less than £100,000 turnover to £250,000 turnover, and I managed to do that. In fact, I've gone beyond that in the 12 months. This time a year ago, I was pretty much working on my own, and I'd just taken on my first team member, a guy called Jamie, who's just leaving the army. Now, less than 12 months forward, I've got a team of 5. We're going to be taking on a part-timer, and I'm very grateful for the team that I've got. They're absolutely amazing, and I'm going to be increasing that team over the next couple of months, because we're getting to the point where we're going to need to grow again. So set outrageous goals, and don't be frightened to think outrageously. I think the only time that you should really be comfortable is when you're out of your comfort zone. So reach for the stars, really go as high and as hard as you can, because the worst thing that's going to happen is that you don't achieve that number. But if you're trying to achieve that number, you're going to hit somewhere in the middle, and as long as it's an increase, then that's all that matters, you know. And try and track where you're going wrong. Try and think to yourself, am I getting up early enough? Am I putting enough energy into what I'm doing? Have I got the right team around me? You know, am I doing too much myself? Okay, so outrageous goals. Just go out there. Just be mad with yourself and just say, nah, this is what I want. Right, okay, double it, and then we're going to be somewhere near. Okay. The next thing I'd like to talk about is tip number 4, which is spend time with your friends and your family. Take time out to have that quality time. What's the point in working outrageously hard every day, which I do enjoy, but if you haven't got something to focus on at the end of it? My business is called KVF Consultants, and the K, V and F all are the initials of people that I love, because I go to work because I love it, but I'm also doing it because I want to provide for my family. So it's really important to me that they're a huge reminder of why I'm going out to work every single day. So it's equally important for me to make sure that I take every 3 months or so, I take some real quality time out so that I can spend some time with my family, so that I can basically de-stress, just get away from the pressures of work, and that's when I have my best ideas. So factor in some time to spend with your family and work your work around when you're going to have your time off. So every 90 days, plan some time off. It gives you something to look forward to. It gives you some time out. You get your best ideas when you're relaxed and in an environment away from work, and when you're happy as well. And nothing makes me happier than spending some time with my wife and kids, and with my friends. The last thing I think is really important, and the reason I say this, I've been to a few sort of I've been part of some sort of business networks and groups and stuff, and one thing that we used to do was we used to say, hey, you know, what's your business goal? And like, you know, it'd be usual, I'd like to get in, you know, one huge customer before the next time we meet or whatever. But all of the personal goals seem to be like, you know, I'd like to lose, you know, half a stone. I'd like to do this. I'd like to, you know, be able to run a marathon or something like that. The way I see it is that if you're fit when you start, then it's going to make life a lot easier for you throughout that journey. So, you know, I understand that it's not always easy to get fit, because sometimes you're not as fit as you should be. I've got a form of arthritis, but I still go to a CrossFit gym and lift weights and do as much as I can to ensure that, you know, I stay active and stay mobile. I mean, I've got young kids. I don't want to be sort of hobbling around, and I certainly don't want to be overweight and a burden on them later on in life. So by staying active and healthy, you know, I feel like, you know, I'm doing the best thing for me as a person, doing the best thing for my team, because, you know, I'm full of energy. I've got endorphins floating around my body. I'm eating clean. I'm eating well. My wife's basically, you know, a full-time sort of CrossFit athlete. So, you know, she eats, sleeps, and trains like an athlete. So I tend to eat what she eats, and that really helps. So, you know, just being really mindful about how much sleep you're getting every night. Things like meditating, you know, if you haven't got, people say to me, oh, I haven't got time to meditate. If you can't take 20 minutes out of your life to make your mind a little bit stronger and a little bit more able to deal with all of the other stuff that we have to deal with, then maybe you need to look at your life a little bit and maybe look at your, you know, what are you doing? You know, are you watching TV? Are you, you know, are you reading a magazine? Are you on Facebook? You know, when you should be possibly, you know, doing something that's going to improve your life. Okay, well, that's enough of me ranting and raving on. I hope you like this video. There will be more videos to come. I'm trying to post every other day at the moment, and keep it consistent. I do want your feedback. I want to hear what you think of me, positive and negative. And if I can learn from the things that you're telling me, then it's going to make me a better person. So thanks very much. Bye bye.